Welcome to the final episode of ReZero Season 3, but for those that don't know, ReZero Season 4 has been announced. After the airing of Season 3, Episode 16, we were given a new anime preview, which you can see on screen here, featuring Rem prominently in a wheelchair. We also have a teaser trailer, which will be in the pinned comment if you want to watch it, but I want to just quickly talk about it. We see Subaru and Emilia enter a tavern, and we can see that both of them decide to order some milk, and we can see that Subaru also has his black hand. You can't see it in the current image, but you can see it when he orders his milk, and we see Emilia and Subaru take off their hoods and sort of ask for what they want. Now, I did make a video about this because Season 3 is cancelled and Season 4 is being announced. A lot of people said I was clickbaiting. And again, here you can see another preview image we got showcasing the characters that are taking part in Arc 6, and we can see Rem is actually here as well. Now, let's talk about the episode. Season 3 ended on a massive cliffhanger involving Julius. As we know, Subaru is running around looking for people, and he sees Julius wondering where he's been, because he wasn't in like the giant meeting. Is absolutely diabolical how it's always Emilia that sort of joins the group and goes, oh, who is this person? Because she first did it with Rem in the director's cut, and now she's doing it with Julius. So it seems that Julius's name was eating, which means that everyone has forgotten about him. But of course Julius is shocked because Subaru still remembers him. As for why Subaru's unaffected, we don't know, but it's good to know. But what a devious cliffhanger, especially because the music was so upbeat. We heard Anastasia talk about how they suffered no losses, but Julius, one of the strongest characters in the series, got his name eaten. And of course no one remembers him, so no one even knew that he even existed, except for of course Subaru. Next, let's go to the Lai Kaito's fight. We see Beatrice fighting with Lai, and Felt eventually comes to help, and she brings with her a meteor. And this is of course made by Echidna. That's the reason why Beatrice says the word mother, referring to Echidna. As to how Felt has this, we don't really know. Either way, Beatrice uses the mana stones to power it and one-shots Lai Kaitos, which is amazing. It just shows how powerful this meteor is. But we actually learned something really interesting, that Felt's name is not Felt, and that she has an actual name. And this is really important about ReZero. Notice how they weaved in Echidna and also Felt's heritage into one sort of fight, and also the fact that Gluttony needs your real name to actually eat your name. So again, in just like a handful of minutes, we got so much lore and explanations about how the system works in ReZero. And again, later on, of course, when Rui is speaking to Felt, pretty much goes on to the idea that Felt is not her real name. And if you go back to, of course, Heinkel, Theresia, and Wilhelm, if you remember the flashback when Wilhelm is speaking to Theresia about going for the White Whale fight, Wilhelm mentions this idea, and Theresia also mentions the idea that the princess was kidnapped. Okay? So, again, this is the idea that Felt may be actual royalty of Lagunica, and that's the reason why she has the blonde hair and red eyes. So again, even the past episodes are linking to this scene in this episode. We also get the reveal of a final archbishop in the final episode. Only ReZero will introduce a new villain in the final episode of the season, and now anime onlys now can see the character that my channel is based on, which is of course Rui Arneb, the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony. So there are actually 3 gluttonies, and later in the episode, Sirius does tell Subaru to be wary of the 3 gluttonies. But again, it's really interesting with Rui, because she was foreshadowed for several episodes, and in this episode she foreshadowed something that will come in the future, but I'm not gonna spoil what that is for the anime onlys. The scene with Sirius is quite possibly one of the most genius scenes that you probably missed a lot of sort of depth and information on. So what's really interesting is the parallel between the characters. We see that Sirius of course licks Subaru, which is something that Betelgeuse did to Subaru. We know that Sirius cannot sing. She's tone deaf. Emilia is also tone deaf. The fact that Sirius looks just like Fortuna. Again, there's so many parallels with these different characters, and it's interesting once you note them. Also, did you notice how Sirius said that Betelgeuse's soul is inside Subaru, and they sort of fuse together? So that seems to be foreshadowing for the future, so I'm looking forward to seeing if they actually expand on that in the future, and there's a reason why I'm specifically mentioning this line from Sirius. I also want to briefly talk about Aldebaran. Of course, in this episode, Beatrice talks about the fact that Aldebaran was the person that gave her the mana crystals which allowed her to fight Libut and Kaitos, and that if it wasn't for him, they would have been wiped out. Which again goes to the question, how did Aldebaran know that Beatrice needed those mana crystals? Where did he get them from? Aldebaran is extremely shady. So many characters are wondering why he's doing what he's doing. Capella accused Al of killing the leaders of the city and flooding the city. Beatrice says that he was the one that gave her mana crystals which allowed her to essentially save Otto. So it's obvious that if it wasn't for Aldebaran, everyone would have pretty much died. Especially when Aldebaran talks about dying for the first time is really, really painful. It's almost like he's sort of like Subaru in a way. For example, if we look at when Subaru went to Krush back all the way in season 1, and he was telling Krush about the witch cult attacking the village, Krush would ask, oh, how do you know that? Or how do you know the white whale is going to attack? And Subaru would be like, well, I can't really tell you. But you notice Aldebaran does the same thing. He hands Beatrice the mana crystals, and when she wants to ask questions, Al says, don't ask. So they're very similar. They're obviously both mysterious characters, Al and Subaru, but Al is of course the most mysterious character. And it's safe to say, if it wasn't for Aldebaran, everyone would have died. Even Capella said, if it wasn't for the flooding of the city of Prestella, everything would have been set in stone, and it just so happened to flood the second the Sin Archbishops were gaining the advantage. The second Otto was about to die, Beatrice showed up because she was given the mana stones. It's almost like maybe Al saw a failed loop where everyone died, and somehow he has some sort of return by death power to go back and save everyone. And that's the reason why he can't explain why he's doing what he's doing, similar to Subaru. One final thing I'll mention about the episode is when Priscilla is watching Emilia turn the insects to ice. You can see this is the point where Priscilla starts to respect Emilia as a rival. I'm not sure if you saw that through the animation, but it was very evident. With that stated, I enjoyed Season 3. I look forward to watching Season 4, and if you like ReZero content, feel free to like and subscribe. We all know that after this episode, the other ReZero bandwagoners are going to stop making ReZero content. I'm the only one that will continue to make ReZero content into the future. So if you like ReZero content, please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.